First of all, there's a Democratic hoax. I don't know if you guys knew this.
No.
Yeah, they have. There's a tendency.
They're making stuff up?
Yeah.
Must be the first time.
Yeah, no, it might be.
And it just really bothers me is that they try to obfuscate and blur black and white issue. If you bring poison into the United States designed to murder Americans, guess what? You're going to die first.
Yeah,
I love that policy.
I don't think this is an issue that Americans are confused about.
You can't just look at the drug trafficking that's coming in from Venezuela and be like, oh, well, we're stopping drugs. No, we're stopping a multinational criminal cartel that is doing violence in our streets.
But I would hope that the Washington Post, with the zeal that they had in trying to lie about Secretary Hegseth, of trying to paint him as a war criminal, I wish they would go back, offer a correction, and thank him for the American lives he saved.
America stands at the ready to build faster, achieve more. The future won't wait. And TC Energy is moving forward confidently, connecting communities, industries, nations, here and abroad. At TC Energy, we deliver the North American natural gas and energy that powers communities across the U.S. to aim higher, grow stronger, and go further. TC Energy. Energy connected. Find out more at tcenergy.com.
Some things stand the test of time, like America's farmers. And they deserve high-quality, built-to-last machines with technology that reduces inputs and saves them money and time. That's why John Deere is investing billions in American factories and launching new tools to help customers repair their machines to keep building for their future. Empowering our customers, building America. Because our nation counts on our farmers. And John Deere is proud they can count on us. Paid for by John Deere.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please.
Keep the faith, hold the line, and own the libs.
It's time for our main event.
Fun Time Friday. Welcome back to the Ruthless Variety Program. I am Josh Holmes, along with Comfortably Smug, Michael Duncan, and John Ashbrook, left to right across your radio dial. We got a lot in store for you here in this episode. First of all, there's a Democratic hoax. I don't know if you guys knew this.
No.
Yeah, they have. There's a tendency.
They're making stuff up?
Yeah.
Must be the first time.
Yeah, no, it might be. Well, it turns out there's it has some import. We're going to get into that. It deals with drug boats that we've now gotten to the bottom of and know that the initial stories were completely ridiculous.
Well, they're certainly at the bottom.
Yeah, thank God.
Always, dude.
Nicely done.
Always. I mean, yeah, for sure. So we got that. We've got some lightning stuff. There's fun to be had here. We have some variety that is fantastic. And then we have the Majority Leader of the House of Representatives involved.
We've been on a hot streak with the guests.
Yeah, Steve Scalise is here. And we have a lot of, look, there's substantive stuff. There's news to be made here on the program. We make news in addition to having fun times on Fridays. So you got a lot of stuff coming at you, in addition to the fact that, like, wait till you get a load of the United States Postal Service and the vehicles. Remember this big thing in the Biden administration where they were going to spend billions on electric vehicles? Because they were like, wow, the only way to save the environment is obviously to make the entire postal fleet electric.
Yeah.
It didn't work out. It didn't work out.
I can't wait for that one.
And we have a Nuzzi update, Olivia Nuzzi.
And there's a Nuzzi update.
Boy. Just when you thought you could listen to an episode with your kids.
We'll give you a fair warning. It's going to be a bit. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Let's start with the hoax. So the Washington Post this very week reported breathlessly on their interpretation of events of the United States military engaging drug boats that were coming across from Venezuela into the United States. You know, this has been quite an issue. We have tens of thousands of Americans who are killed every year by not just drugs in general, but also fentanyl in particular. And so this administration, unlike pretty much every other administration dating back to like Ronald Reagan, it decided like we're not going to do that anymore. Like we're gonna put an end to that. It is an act of war when you kill American citizens.
100%.
I like that.
I love it.
I like that. I mean, if you're intentionally coming into this country, try to harm our people, we're going to react to that. I don't know why that's a hard concept for people.
It's I think again it goes back to this like woke nonsense that the left has pushed on the American public for well over a decade of like, oh, everyone is either a colonializer or a victim, and these are just, you know, these poor downtrodden cartel members are just trying to earn an honest buck poisoning Americans. Come on. You know, like the fact that they're trying to say, won't someone please think of the narco-terrorists bringing barrels of fentanyl into the country when a handful of this can kill like 50,000 Americans?
Yeah.
And they're bringing barrels over.
They made it very clear they're not trafficking it. They're transporting it from one country to another. That's not trafficking in Democrats' definition. We talked about that yesterday.
Yeah. And it just really bothers me is that they try to like obfuscate and blur black and white issue. If you bring poison into the United States designed to murder Americans, guess what? You're going to die first.
Yeah,
I don't love that policy.
I don't think this is an issue that Americans are confused about.
Nope.
But it's a perfect example of how things get trapped in the Beltway. And they're
Bingo.
like, well, here, this is the legalese explanation as to how we're dealing with this. Well, maybe there's a war crime involved and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I don't know, those people are trying to kill us. They killed them first.
Yep.
It seems like a good idea. But anyway, this is how the Washington Post started this whole thing off.
Oh, boy.
As two men clung to a stricken, burning ship targeted by SEAL Team 6, the Joint Special Operations Commander followed the Defense Secretary's order to leave no survivors. They go on to explain, two men, right? Just a couple of, it's like the Maryland Man. You know, the alleged human trafficker who was just is a Maryland Man. I mean, he's just an Orioles guy. You know, like he's just hanging out.
Yeah.
You know, he just
eating
did some
crabs.
human trafficking, light
Yeah.
human trafficking guy. Maryland Man.
The Washington Post would make you think you're watching Deadliest Catch. These guys are just out there fishing.
Right. The Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, gave a spoken directive, according to two people with direct knowledge of the operation. Quote, the order was to kill everybody, one of them said. And you always have to be skeptical when you're dealing with defense or intelligence, when you're talking about blind sourcing on operations. Because inevitably, there are people who have axes to grind, who are careers, who have, they were there because of a Democrat at some point, and they just sort of embedded themselves within. And if you feel the need to be quoted, even on background, in a publication like the Washington Post, it is a direct violation of the ethos of the military in and of itself, right? Like what it takes to get to that point is an incredible breach of trust and breach of the hierarchy of the military, starting with the commander-in-chief. And so, like, look, there has been a lot of episodes over the years where somebody has spoken up about things that have happened that were good. But when you're dealing with, like, drug boat operations and somebody's just, like, spilling out to the Washington Post, you got to be kind of skeptical about what the motivations are of the quoted. And what I found so interesting about this particular story is they reported this, I think it was on, like, a Monday. Is that right? I don't know. It was early this week. And nobody corroborated it. New York Times wasn't on it. Wall Street Journal wasn't on it. The Associated Press wasn't on it. And then a whole host of lefty outfits who would love nothing more weren't on the original confirmation. The only thing that they would report out was like, well, the Washington Post reported.
That's the thing is like typically when a big story like this, just like you say, when a big story like this breaks, all the other journals are racing to their sources to be like, can you confirm? Okay, so then they can get their own original say.
Yeah.
We can independently confirm that. When everyone else is like, the Washington Post said this, and it hangs out there for a while, it's starting to get dangerous.
And Johnny, tell me how this works. But my understanding is that when, like, the New York Times doesn't have this first piece, they're trying to confirm it and then advance the story to get to a point where it's their own story, like there's new details involved. So when they don't, it's kind of a conspicuous absence.
It's incredibly conspicuous. And I think it was the New York Times that sort of came over the top of the Post and reported the facts, which, again, you do not expect from the New York Times.
No.
And I'm a little bit surprised. And I know that you guys will give me a hard time for this because I'm the guy here who's more willing to believe that newspapers want to get right and that the Washington Post was headed in the right direction. But every once in a while, even though they seem to have the best ideas in mind, now that they're owned by Jeff Bezos and they're trying to do things a little bit more middle of the road.
Boo, hiss.
Every once in a while, you see a story like this and it reminds you of your childhood. Reminds you of standing in the grocery store with your mom and you look at the counter and you see that. You remember that newspaper, Weekly World News?
Yeah, like crazy tabloids, like
Bat Boy
Alien,
found in
Bat Boy,
cave,
yeah.
Howard Hughes brought back to life, all of that stuff. Every once in a while, you open the Washington Post and you're like, "What's the difference?"
Yeah,
you know, this story is the perfect example.
National Enquirer style stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So the big takeaway from that initial story was some current and former U.S. officials and law of war experts. Okay. So these are the
Law of
international
war
types.
expert. Okay.
Law of war experts have said that the Pentagon's lethal campaign, which has killed more than 80 people to date, is unlawful and may expose those directly involved to future prosecution. So what they're doing, for those of you who don't follow the ins and outs of Washington vernacular, is accusing the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, of a war crime.
That's an insane thing to do.
That's what they're doing. And recall, this whole thing is about drug boats coming out of Venezuela. And what they're saying is, and this is where this thing gets super hairy for me, is that they're saying that not only is the initial strike unlawful, and they have concerns about that, but they're not addressing that. The details that came out in this report were that there was a couple of survivors from the initial strike, and the fact that there was a subsequent strike that eliminated the target was a war crime. Now, try making that argument to the average American. It seems to me like you either buy something or you don't, in that people who are poisoning and attempting to kill Americans with shipments of drugs into America is an act of war, or it's not. The administration believes that it is. Democrats believe that it's not. Mm-hmm. Take that for what it is.
Crazy.
That's a surface level argument. But if it's an act of war, then when you're firing a fucking missile at a boat, the attempt is to eliminate the target. Whether or not it takes two shots or one is immaterial to the argument. Mm-hmm. It's a threat or it's not. And they start parsing this out by saying, like, well, we understand that we can probably not win the argument about whether or not this is a threat to America. We'll have that at a later date. What now we're concerned about is whether the Secretary of War took a subsequent action that could have preserved lives of drug traffickers in this case. But he didn't, and so therefore it's a war crime. I don't know if any of you have been on the internet for like more than 2 seconds, but like the war in Afghanistan and Iraq, there was tons of videos of strikes that were happening on militant targets attempting to kill Americans. It's not like one shot and then you just wait and see what happens. It's war or it's not. It's a threshold question, right? But they're trying to hang this up on, what do they call them? They call them experts of
International war law.
International war law.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, I believe their argument would be that in the law of war, they're shipwrecked at that point, and so therefore they're not lawful targets. But as we found in subsequent reporting, that's not exactly the case.
So Martha Raddatz shows up again, like you've seen her.
That's the thing. Is like this is not exactly someone who's a fan of the administration coming out and clarifying.
No,
like
this
Martha
is-
Raddatz hasn't been like, oh, let's go. Like you wouldn't expect her to come out and be like, oh, we got to clarify this a bit, folks.
Long-time established voice in the legacy media.
Exactly. Her appearance alone validates that 72-hour gap when everybody was like, I don't know if this story has what they say that they have. But when she shows up, she lays it to rest. Clip 1.
And tonight, new information. According to a source familiar with the incident, the 2 survivors climbed back onto the boat after the initial strike. They were believed to be potentially in communication with others and salvaging some of the drugs. Because of that, it was determined they were still in the fight and valid targets. A JAG officer was also giving legal advice. So again, David, that video will be key, and Admiral Bradley will be on the Hill tomorrow behind closed doors.
Okay.
It's almost as like they had this buttoned up.
Yeah.
There was a JAG officer involved. They were trying to reconstitute, drag in other drug traffickers to salvage the drugs and potentially bring in some kind of a salvation unit to what it is that they were doing. Kind of like when you're at war.
And can I just say something? Like, you know, a lot has to be said for the fact of how professionally run this operation, and it seems like this military has been in this administration, where you're dealing with a missile strike on some narco terrorists, and they've got like JAGs live on the horn offering advice in real time of what to do in case anything happens. Like, they are ready for any situation, clearly. And then you see that, like, they hit the boat, the surviving drug trafficking guys are like on the radio being like, yo, we're trying to get the drugs and keep the mission rolling. And they can be like, not anymore. Like, we should be proud of the folks we've got in this military, not trying to put them in jail like the Washington Post.
It's a mission. And again, you can have an argument about whether the mission should exist. You can have an argument about whether or not trafficking drugs that kill Americans, I would say intentionally in many cases, constitutes an act of war. This administration has interpreted it as an act of war, and they are engaging it thusly, right? But when you have determined that something is an act of war, you eliminate the target. Whether it takes one shot or two, that's what you do.
Right.
This is the only argument. I've said this for years. The political class in D.C. is so far behind the arguments that
Yes.
the
they
American
really
people have.
are.
You know, and it went all the way back to my childhood and watching the Bill Clinton situation with Monica Lewinsky when all that came out and everybody at home was like, oh, I know what went down.
Yep.
You know, and he's like, oh, what's the definition of his?
Yeah.
And every husband and wife, every family were like, oh, dude, I know what went down. Right? He doesn't want to say it. He doesn't want to say it in front of her, but I know what went down. And then we spent 6 years like litigating that whole situation as if there was like, you know, technical, legal.
Like, we need a Zapruder report. We need the film back into the
Right.
lab.
It's like, dude, I don't know. The guy got a blowjob in the Oval Office.
My
I
God,
got
there's
it.
children listening.
Sorry.
We haven't gotten to the Nuzzi segment
We
yet.
haven't gotten to the Nazi, but you know what my point is.
Yes.
But it happens in each and every scandal where they got to hang a technicality
Yeah.
on an otherwise perfectly clear thing. Now, if you think that the U.S. military has absolutely no business in the situation of protecting the American citizens from drug trafficking, you're going to have a different opinion than this administration does. It's a worthy opinion, one worth litigating. And I think that's something that will play out in court at some point. I happen to believe this is exactly what needs to be done. But it doesn't matter whether or not your first shot took 6 of 8 out and you had 2 terrorists that were sitting there willing to reconstitute their mission and it took a second shot to eliminate the threat. The point was to eliminate the threat, right?
Right.
The shame of it
Am I
is,
missing something
No,
here?
I
Like that's
doesn't
the
sound
that's
like
the
you're
way
missing
that
anything to me.
most of us process this thing.
I would hope, and they won't, but I would hope that the Washington Post, with the zeal that they had in trying to lie about Secretary Hegseth, of trying to paint him as a war criminal, I wish they would go back, offer a correction, and thank him for the American lives he saved. Because if those barrels
that's
of
gonna
fentanyl,
happen?
nope. If those barrels of fentanyl get into this country, they do what every one of these fentanyl doses that come into this country have done is they'd kill Americans. They've killed so many people. More Americans have been killed by fentanyl than every war since World War II combined.
And I think
Think about that. Think about that.
But I think that point is one that resonates. Every single election cycle for the last 10 years, the American people have risen to the top to say, I have a friend.
Yep.
I have a family member. I have somebody I know in my community who is close to me die of fentanyl.
Yep.
In every single election cycle, you get these multi-billion-dollar bills that are like, well, now we've solved the crisis, and nothing happens. And you've got an administration now that in trade deals, they're baking in fentanyl stuff. They're doing this anti-narco trafficking stuff by actually dude, you got to break some eggs to make a fucking omelet when it comes to stopping what amounts to a genocide of people, a generation in this country.
Right.
Like, it's hard to do.
And I think the thing that offends me the most about a lot of this reporting is how it decontextualizes the entire thing and sterilizes the drug trafficking into the United States as just like, oh, drugs are going in the United States. It's like, no, this also funds a multinational human trafficking operation and organized crime in this country that is destroying communities, that is allowing foreign drug cartels to take over apartment complexes, right? And like we had the director of ICE in talking about, TDA, just like all of the drug trafficking that they're doing in communities that is entirely funded by these operations. Like, you can't just look at the drug trafficking that's coming in from Venezuela and be like, oh, well, we're stopping drugs. No, we're stopping a multinational criminal cartel that is doing violence in our streets.
100%.
That's such a good point.
100%.
Dude, and then you get to the back end of this, and you get guys like Jack Reed, who was on we did the clip of him, where they're twisting themselves into knots to try to explain why it is that this is concerning, but stopping drugs is not. And they're like, well, the guys driving the boats aren't the real problem.
Yeah. It's the market in the United States.
Yeah, well, it's a supply and demand issue.
Right.
It's like, okay, well, we might as well blame America.
That's the thing. It's like,
for that.
It's the whole like dumb woke, like colonizers versus the colonized, whatever thing, that this dynamic that the left tries to create of like, no, Americans are the bad guys. America's bad. We're done with it. God bless Secretary Hegseth for killing these fucking people, because they just bring barrels of poison into the country. They murder Americans, and I'm glad they're dead.
Yeah, well said, Smug. Coming up next, we're going to have some yucks. We're going to have some laughs, much lighter than the first segment, although I think it was an important one, fellas. Morning, Joe. You familiar with that show?
Guys, remember that?
I'm unfamiliar. I watched it, 15 years ago. I didn't know that it's still kind of... I didn't know what their sets looked like, and like I just was familiar with how they started it.
They're on MS Now, the rotting corpse zombie of MSNBC.
Yeah, but it's been at least a decade. I mean that. I'm not like being hyperbolic. It's been at least a decade since I've tuned into that show. It turns out it's like very different than it used to be.
Is it?
And Morning Joe and Mika, not quite a full-time job.
Oh, no.
And our friends at the Free Beacon have highlighted some of this in a fantastic way. We got a super cut that you're going to definitely want to see right after this.
Why was the government shut down? Because big insurance greed knows no limits. The same insurance companies pocketing billions in profits were demanding billions more in taxpayer-funded subsidies again, putting millions of families at risk, shutting down our government. Now, unless they get their billions, the big insurance companies are threatening to raise your premiums even more, putting greed and profit before patients. It's time to hold them accountable.
Okay, so our good friends over at the Free Beacon, doing great work over there, I might add. Always have. But I find their stuff to be very compelling. And they pick up on things that, like, frankly, the rest of us don't, because who amongst us is watching MS Now?
Yeah.
Well, it turns out that Morning Joe is a hobby for Mika and Joe.
Even the people who work at MSN Now don't take it seriously.
It turns out
That's
Morning
tough.
Joe hasn't had much Joe at all over the last several months, according to
Wow, really?
MS Now. Yeah. As host Joe Scarborough and co-host / wife Mika Brzezinski, which, by the way, that in and of itself is worth exploring at another
Hilarious.
time, treated their flagship program like a hobby rather than a job, racking up remarkable number of absences. A free beacon analysis found Scarborough and Brzezinski were paid millions of dollars to host a show from a specifically built home studio in Florida. So last time I watched this thing, they were all in New York.
Yeah, I think in COVID they moved
and
to
they just
Florida
never came
and
back.
had a studio built, and they're just like, well, why would we go back?
Just never came back. They're like,
Nobody's watching anyway.
they're like, remote it is. Anyway, check out this supercut clip 2.
Welcome to Morning Joe on this Friday, June 27th. I'm Jonathan Lemire. Thanks for being here.
They don't
I'm joined
even
by
show
the BBC's
up.
Katty Kay, who is host of the Rest of Politics podcast. Joe, Mika, and Willie have the day off. It is Monday, July 28th. I'm Jonathan Lemire, in for Joe, Mika, and Willie. It is Friday, August 1st.
In for Joe and
It is
Mika, bro.
August, folks.
And Willie.
I'm Jonathan Lemire, in for Joe, Mika, and Willie. Good morning.
Dude, you know, Willie's like, I'm done with this
Friday,
shit.
August 22nd. I'm Jonathan Lemire, in for Joe, Mika, and Willie. We will note that Mika not here today, so just we'll stay tuned for developments in the further developments in the case.
I'm Katty Kay, and I am
Bro,
in
what's Joe?
for
Joe's like, she's
everybody.
upstairs,
Joe,
bro.
Mika, and Willie. Good morning. Welcome to Morning Joe. It is Friday, August the 29th, very end of summer, guys. And America is being remade. I'm Katty Kay, in for Joe, Mika, and Willie. Everybody's off except me. I'm so sorry.
Honestly, Willie's the real hero here, dude. He's gotten himself,
Willie is the hero.
He's gotten himself a contract where he has like, everyone knows like Joe and Mika have to be on the hook for this, right? But Willie's getting the money, but not showing up like at all.
Anytime Joe and Mika are in that, Willie's like, bah, I'm out, dude. Let's let Katty K take care of this one.
Dude, I bet Willie's
Jonathan Lemire,
dude,
you're up, pal.
Willie's golf game must be tremendous.
So-
Dude is just like out there hitting the links. He's done with this shit, dude.
Willie's really working it through. So it turns out, according to the Free Beacon, they've appeared together on just 70 of 124 episodes between May 27 and November 15th.
Holy cow. 70 shows.
Where's a truancy officer when you need one?
Man, Scarborough has missed 29 shows. Brzezinski has skipped 41.
Or one out of every three.
1 out of every 3 episodes, Joe Scarborough's not on that show. Dude, would you love? I'd love it. I'd love to try to make that argument. Well, you see.
Here's what I'd say. It says Brzezinski skipped 1 out of 3. I'd tell the CEO at MS Now, listen, if you got a batter who's hitting 66%, you're pretty happy with that situation, right? You'd give him a pay raise.
You don't understand how impactful the 1 out of every 3 is.
Just imagine being the CEO of MS Now.
I mean, just a
You're like, we had to
dude.
fucking rebrand the shithole.
NBC's like, we
we
can't have anything to do with you people. You gotta go. I mean, that's how dire things are. If I'm being honest,
Thanks for putting the shoulder to the wheel.
MS Now, I will do a show. I'll do the smug show.
Oh, don't do that.
Okay. And listen, if I just have to show up 1 out of every 3 times or whatever, it does not sound like a bad deal. And no one's watching anyways. I mean, Ashbrook's right. No one is watching the network, so it's like, why would you show up? And also, if you're based out of Florida, it's got to be tough. It's got to be tough to be like, okay, back to the studio. We got to manufacture brain damage for people and cry about Trump. It's like, oh, no, he killed some narco traffickers. How am I going to spin this in a way that makes Trump look bad? I don't want to do that.
Well, the Washington Post will do that for you.
Yeah, I mean, like,
you just simply need to read it.
I mean, it's a tough gig. I can understand why they don't show up to work. It's clear they were wrong repeatedly. You know what I mean? Like, they've done their best, and then Trump wins again. And we independently reported, like, they showed up to Mar-a-Lago being like, don't jail us, Donald. And I guess he's like, well, you're not showing up to work. There's nothing to jail you for.
Nothing to jail. Maybe that was the thing.
Yeah, that was the deal.
We did report that here on the Variety program, that they had made a pilgrimage to Mar-a-Lago because they were concerned about their freedom.
Dude,
and they, in their liberal brains, had been convinced that anybody who disagreed with President Trump was going to jail upon his inauguration, and so they went down to plead their case. I mean, first of all, the brain damage involved. But
First of all.
But second of all, what they've apparently taken it as is like, well, if we show up a third of the time, we're going to be less offensive than we would be in a full complement.
The best clip was the one of like Joe actually did show up to work and like, well, Mika's not here today, and he's just like, I mean,
Yeah, no, it's
they literally built a studio into your house, and she's not even gonna come downstairs for that shit. She's like, I'm not doing it. I'm gonna stay up here. You go do the damn show.
You
And
do
he's
the
gotta
show.
show up. He's
Joe?
like, oh man,
You son of a bitch. Oh, it's so good. We got so much more variety. The United States Postal Service. You know, it's a group that you don't want to go too far out on a limb with. I mean, they get testy.
Oh boy, do they ever?
At times, but it turns out, like money management's not exactly, I would say, a forte of the United States Postal Service. I mean, you know that if you try to go get stamps and like, I don't know.
Get out of here.
2 years ago, you had like a 32-cent stamp.
You're
and all
telling
of
me
a
it's
sudden-
not a profitable enterprise? Well, it's run so well.
And then it's like $1 overnight. You know, if those forever stamps, by the way, that was a good investment. By the way, if you did that a couple of years ago, I mean, you're making out like a demon if you have to mail anything. Anyway, they decided that they wanted to make some trucks because, of course, this planet will be saved if the United States Postal Service has electric vehicles.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's important, as one knows, that you have to import all of the materials for the United States Postal Service from China.
Yeah.
In order to make sure that our planet is saved. Well, they've taken it upon themselves. And according to the New York Post, the USPS electric fleet is behind schedule with $3 billion in taxpayers' funds spent and only 612 trucks that were built. Now, can I take a look at what the $500,000 truck looks like?
Come on, dude. That's not real. That's got to be AI.
No, dude.
Is that's a real picture? Look at the forehead on
dude,
that
it's
thing.
not. So to do the math, that's not a $500,000 truck.
Oh.
That's a $5 million.
It's a $5 million truck?
Are you kidding me?
Jeez, I
You get
carried the
600
one.
of them for $3 billion. That's $5 million a pop.
That thing doesn't have a forehead. It is a 5-head.
Dude, keep it up. Keep it
put
up.
that
we
thing
gotta,
back up.
Yeah, we got to see that. Look at this thing.
That's a good
Homer
comparison.
Simpson. I was going to say it's like something that Dr. Seuss would have driving around Whoville.
It does look like Dr.
It kind of looks a little bit like an adapted. Remember those Pope mobiles? I
Yeah.
don't know if they
Yeah.
still have it back in the day, but like the Pope, they glassed him in.
Yeah. Bulletproof.
Yeah,
proof
it's
glass.
kind of like what they've got there. But can you imagine, like, they're like, here's what we need to do. We need to build an electric vehicle, folks. It can't be gas. We have to reinvigorate our entire fleet. What I'd like to do is have a 35-foot windshield. Because that is going to help us deliver the mail more effectively.
I mean, here's the thing: is so the post service is trash. They're horrible. It's not what it used to be. Everyone just remembers what it used to be like when you were kids and you actually
Probably
knew who the
talking to some
postman was.
postal workers right now.
That's the thing is like anyone who's been to a post office in the past like 5 years, you're gonna have a hostile experience. They're showing. You'll ask them like. I've already done all the work. I've already taped the label and everything at home because I know no supplies are available. They're like, oh, you want to tape something to it? You have to buy it. You want a scissor? You have to buy a scissor. We have nothing available to you, right? So all I want is I'm going to give you the package. Just scan it in.
Oh,
and
you
they
need a
act
box?
like you've asked for my firstborn child to sacrifice. Like this is the most inconvenient thing. You people are paid to do a job and you're not willing to do it. And then, like I'm saying, everyone's memory of the postal service of what it used to be is when you were a kid, when you knew the guy who was dropping off the
Oh, yeah,
mail.
it's a good friend.
He was a nice guy.
Yeah.
Rain or shine, the guy's going to get that package from grandma to you. You knew his name. You'd leave him like cookies for the holidays
Yeah.
and whatever. Those days are gone. You've got a hostile, angry government employee who occasionally is going to show up with a package that looks like it's been punted across an entire football field. Right? Good luck trying to ship something to somebody in this country and having it
okay.
show up on time. These people are monsters. Don't put them in a truck like
Okay,
this. Put them in worse trucks.
For the record, I think my mailman does a pretty good job. I disagree
No,
with
he
you there.
doesn't. Nope.
But really, what black-pilled me on the USPS was when I had to go in.
Oh, no, that's a
for
problem.
a schedule appointment to get passports passports for my kids. It was one of the most horrific experiences I've had with the federal government.
Yeah.
Absolutely horrible.
And that's by design. They're like, if I'm a rotten, horrible person, people will stop bugging me at work and I can just scroll through my phone. Because that's what they want to do. These people don't give a shit about your mail. They don't give a shit about you. They want to scroll through their phone all day long. So when you show up and you're like, I've done all the work, I've taped it, it's all good to go, just scan it to the machine like, oh my God, really just put it over there. It's like, lady.
Put it over there.
The amount of taxpayer money that's paying your salary, and everyone's like, oh, no, it's a private enterprise. No, it's not. We all know we're all paying for this shit, and we're getting nothing out of it. And it's all going, so this lady's got like 9 inches of nails on each one of her fingers that she's focused on scrolling on her phone, then just scanning my goddamn package. You know?
Like GD, too.
Like, here's the thing.
Off the rails.
They don't need trucks. Half them should be put in jail. I'm done with the postal service. All of them.
Jail
They've got
postal workers?
Jail them and beat them.
I had
These
no
are horrible
idea.
people.
Dude, I like my
them.
mail carrier. I get the impression the system treats them like trash.
No, they are trash, and they're not being treated like it. I'm done with them. I'm done with them. Your packages will never show up. Good luck. If you're foolish enough to order anything on Black Friday, you're not going to get it before Christmas. You're not going to get it, period. They're going to lose it, and they're going to be like, please put a notice in the mail. They don't care.
I
They
don't
care
have
about
this
you.
relationship with my mail carrier.
It feels like a very personal problem.
Yeah.
Just a second. Look at Duncan. Just a second ago, he's telling us about the awful experience he had taking his children to the post office. He forgot about that.
Well,
real
you
fast,
can't go
right?
in the post
Right,
office.
right. There's a
Because if you
difference.
go
Because
in
it's full
there,
of trolls. So that's the problem. Is the place is full of these trolly people.
I'll fully admit that if you have to go into a post office and you're
the
like,
belly of the beast. That's where they come from. Where do the horrible postmen come from? They all live there.
They live there.
It's the den of these monsters. There needs to be some accountability.
If you go into a post office and you're like, oh my gosh, like I need a different box than the box that was prescribed, they basically are like loosen your belt and come around the corner.
Yeah.
I'm going to take it out on your ass.
Yeah.
I mean, that is basically the feeling that you get. But like my day-to-day mail carrier doesn't feel that way. He kind of does his job, shows up day in and day out.
My guy seems like a pretty good guy.
Yeah.
He always says hello. He's always there.
If
Shake
you put
his
up-
hand.
And then you people deserve the poor treatment that the USPS gives you. Your packages don't show up on time. Well, the guy I see, he's a nice guy. Yeah, right. This whole system is rotten to the core. These people don't do shit at their job. You show up to a post office, they're not doing shit. They're like, just use the kiosk. Then what's your job, dude? If I wanted to talk to a robot, I got a phone in my pocket. I wanted someone to do their job.
All right,
Use the kiosk.
I'm not using the kiosk. I'm paying for you to do something. So do something.
Bro.
I had no idea the post office was going to take such a
I'm
path.
done with these people, man. We all got to hold them accountable.
Well, but this backstory is worth noting just for a moment, if you will. The former president, Joe Biden, as you know, he was terrific with math. In 2022, as a part of the Inflation Reduction Act, they set aside billions, and Joni Ernst had flagged this situation, that has been called a boondoggle. And I think that's generous. And what it ultimately was is they contracted with people who don't make electric vehicles. And when they didn't make electric vehicles, you can understand how you can have a windshield like that. Right? It's like, I don't know who designed this. I don't know. Get a huge piece of glass.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what they did.
Glass guy's made out like a bandit.
Unrelated, Hunter Biden is a major stakeholder in the glass company.
Yeah. He's like, fuck, man. He's out there like putting the sides of the things in. It's like, this thing's $5 million per. Anyway, so as of November 10, just this month, only 612 of these bad boys have been put onto the road.
Incredible.
Quote, instead of spending another $1 billion on an EV fleet that's lost in the mail, it's time to pull a plug on this boondoggle and return the money to sender, which is the taxpayers.
They were
Right on.
They were supposed to produce 35,000 of these.
Amazing.
618. That sucker passed in 2022. 3 years ago.
God, dude.
Dude, I honestly
No,
believe
but you guys
that
are
the
all-
four of us,
No,
if we
no,
were
no,
going
no,
to build
listen to
this,
me.
we would do more than that.
Yeah.
It's that postman that you guys love so much who's taking billions of
Postman's
dollars.
not building the truck.
He's such a nice guy. He just robs us fucking blind.
Okay.
When he shows up, you should bring this up to him.
Hold on.
Be like, where's my $3 billion, nice guy?
Yeah, he's like,
Tell him that. The jolly little postman, when he shows up and you're so happy with this guy, be like, where's my $3 billion?
He's like,
boss?
I don't know, I've been busy mining the rare earth minerals that have been required to build this sucker. Can we pop this sucker back up?
It's time to take a stand.
All right, so
you see a post office worker, you let him know.
Bro, it leads to a question of the day. And the question of the day is, what drug was the designer of the new postal truck on when he designed this vehicle? Because it's got to be some kind of a methamphetamine.
I was going to say more like a acid.
Yeah, it strikes me as LSD.
I just don't understand. It's like that they looked at it and they were like, because it doesn't really need the hood, right? Because the whole battery is underneath it. And they were like, let's just make the whole thing.
Dude, $5 million. $5 million
for that.
But my guy doesn't have one of these. He's still like
well,
out
there's
there
only
cranking
612
his
of
engine
them.
in the front
If
of
you've
his
seen
Jeep.
one of these, actually write in. If you've seen one of
that
these,
I want to hear
I've
that.
never seen one.
If your neighborhood is serviced by
But what
the
if these are just
Pope-mobile-
like Delaware? Like this was 100% just Biden gravy train, dude. Like, actually, the money's all just in Delaware. Folks from Delaware, if you're listening, write in if you've seen one of these things.
If you see it, just let us know because we'd love to know. Anyway, that's our question of the day. Boys, it is Friday. And when it is Friday, we start looking towards the weekend. And we got a big Christmas party. We got Christmas parties everywhere. We're doing stuff. And when we do that, you got to come prepared. And to come prepared, you need Z-Biotics.
That's right. The one and only. There it is. There's on camera for the YouTube viewers. So Z-Biotics, what you do is it's pretty simple. You just have one of these before you go out, before you have a drink. And what happens is in the morning, you feel like $1 million. I mean, most people,
true.
That's the thing, is it's true. Most people think that if you have a few drinks, the following day you feel terrible because you're dehydrated. It's not that at all. You can chug all the Gatorade, Pedialyte, and whatever you want. That's not the problem. The problem is when that alcohol is broken down your stomach, there's these toxic byproducts. Well, Z-Biotics actually knocks that all out.
And you know this because you've passed these out. It's not just you saying it. You've passed these out to everybody you know. You've got 100 testimonials from dudes out there who didn't believe you at first and then called you the next morning.
That's the thing. So Z-Biotics does all the work making this, but I like taking the credit. So when we go to the convention or whatever, everyone's like, man, Smug gave me this like magic cure to make sure I didn't feel terrible in the morning. That's right. It was Z-Biotics. It's the best.
Lest the Z-Biotics folks think that this is altruistic. It is not. He likes the credit, and he believes that everybody who experiences this, which has been our experience, comes back the next day and they're like, what magic potion
That's the truth.
did you give us? And it has been our experience. It really has. It's been an incredible deal. You got to go to zbiotics.com/ruthless to learn more. You get 15% off your first order when you use Ruthless at the checkout. Z-Biotics is backed by 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, and trust me, you will not be, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. So you've got to go to zbiotics.com/ruthless and use the code ruthless at the checkout for 15% off. Do it. I'm just telling you, if you can't encounter this guy in the wild, you're going to have to go get your own. I mean, if you can encounter
And then you
him
can
in
be
the
me
wild.
and get your friends in on it because it works. It's incredible.
That's how you buy friends.
Yeah.
He's heading to the post office, folks.
It's how this asshole actually gets people to like him. Anyway, our last question of the day. We had a good one. Which criminal will Democrats defend next? You'll recall in Thursday's episode, we featured 4 different stories from 4 different criminal elements, where you had Democrats basically taking the opposite end of whatever Trump had come up with and Trump administration had come up with to try to defend whether it's a drug trafficker or what have you in supporting their arguments. Amazing. We asked you, what's the next criminal they're going to defend? You have an incredible answer. When you like and subscribe to the Ruthless Variety program, we read every single one and get back to the next episode. To do that, we start with the voice.
Well, Josh, our first comment comes from Scott Purchase.
Oh, I like the name. It's a strong name.
I do, too. Great name. Scott writes, what criminals will Democrats defend next? Disney adults. What
a
great audience.
That's
I love
so
him.
good.
So good, Scott.
Charges, Scott. Charges.
He knows.
Worse than narco-terrorists.
Yeah. Wait till they see what Hegseth has planned for Small World.
You're not gonna like it. All right, what do we got, Dunks?
It's from Robin Heinz. Robin writes, easy answer. They'll defend Epstein. After demanding the release of the files they've been withholding to protect their party and their donors for more than a decade, they will soon be flocking to MSM Studios to protest that Jeffrey is just misunderstood and that he was only looking out for the children of the world.
Incredible.
Incredible. So the heel turn on that, by the way, is not impossible.
No.
It's genuinely not impossible.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen these people flip on the most dead rights issue of all time, where they're like, this simply needs to happen, and then all of a sudden the partisan winds shift, and they're like, that's the worst thing in the planet.
100%.
That could happen. All right, Smug, what do you got?
Comment 3 is from Lady Saw. Lady Saw writes, Dems love revisionism. Charles Manson was misunderstood. His followers were spreading misinformation about him and his peaceful commune. Incredible. Incredible.
He just wanted to make music with the Beach Boys.
Right?
That's it. He was a musician, a simple musician with a dream and a devoted following.
Yeah. And a devoted following.
Oh, my God, that's so good. All right, so listen, you all deserve this. We want to do this. When we come back, an Olivia Nuzzi update.
Oh, my God.
She's got, there's a couple more entries. She's decided to try to roll this book out. You're not going to believe what we've got right after this. Okay, so for those of you who've been with us the last couple of weeks, you know about the story of Olivia Nuzzi, who was a bit of a philanderer, as it turns out, as a journo.
Wait, she wasn't doing the philandering, though.
Well, she was engaged.
She was the philanderee.
Yeah, well, I don't think that makes you a philanderer.
What does it make you?
A mistress?
A cheater?
Maybe.
I
Yeah.
mean, she was
well,
engaged.
I guess she was engaged.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
So, I mean,
No, you're right.
listen, you're trying
I
to...
stand corrected.
It was a fairly...
I think it makes her a journo.
It's a some reverse misogyny going on here. Anyway, what she's done is try to roll out this book, and it's not going well. And I think you've taken a particular liking to some of this stuff, Dunks. In clip 3, he sits down, or she sits down with Tim Miller, who is another notable garbage human, who they have a garbage conversation, as one does when you have two garbage people in the waste management of political conversation. And what happens is this.
You said you helped him, right, during the campaign. And
I write about it. I write about what I did wrong. Yeah.
And it's like once you've done that, like you didn't, there, like you cease to have become like a journalistic actor, and like you're.
Well, I lost my job, right? I was fired.
Right.
I was fired, and I was in hiding, and I was afraid.
Scared? Were you scared? Yeah.
I was terrified.
Of what?
I mean, I write in the book about, I was terrified of the man I did not marry. And I was very worried about people knowing where I was. And
I'm
can you
sorry.
pause this? Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, we can pause it.
I mean...
Sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. So...
What a table setter.
Lest you feel...
Can I say, bro, she played the Trump card women love to pull. Oh no, accountability, time to cry. She hit that switch fast, bro.
Dude, I am totally with you here.
Get out of here.
Just remember, the reason that you're hearing about this woman is not because people have decided to gang up on Olivia Nuzzi. It's because she decided throughout the course of her career to try to write profiles in a high-profile public way of Republican candidates, some of which she evidently had extramarital affairs with. And when she did that, she got fired from her job. Now, she could have gone away. That could have been a humiliating experience. Had I been caught red-handed in something like that, you probably wouldn't see me again. For her, she's decided to roll it all back out in her own words and try to sell a book called American Canto, which is this big depiction of all of her experiences. Now, she left behind a very scorned lover in the process who decided, I'm going to provide some texture to all of that to give us a little bit of an idea of what other extramarital affairs this woman was having, and now she's not totally in love with the framework for her book rollout. And she goes on this dude's podcast, and he asks her like the most simple questions, and she's like, I don't know.
She's absolutely dumbstruck at the idea she'd be asked a question about all the things she did. The thing that's so remarkable about this, it's like, to your point, Holmes, she chose to engage in this. She chose to write a book and put herself back in the limelight. Nobody harassed her and brought her onto camera. Nobody made her do this.
She was dark for a year where no one harassed her whatsoever because she decided, everybody thought, you're going to go away. You made a terrible mistake. We all make a mistake, and America likes second chances. That's okay. We're not going to harass you about that. Then she comes back out like she's a conquering queen, and she's going to roll this whole thing back out. And her publisher makes the decision to roll her book back out with the RFK excerpts, the most explosive part of this alleged extramarital component that she's talking about. And then she lands in the first interview that she's doing totally unprepared for the question about the thing they rolled the fucking book out about.
Okay, so that's the thing that's so amazing. It's why we have to go to the next clip here. But just to preface that clip, she's asked that basic question about the alleged digital affair with RFK. The central thesis of this whole thing and the reason why it's all relevant that she wrote the book in the first place.
Yeah.
This is how she answers that question. Let's play that clip.
He was trashing you. He's being nominated to be HHS secretary. His reign, I think, as you said in the newsletter today, you agree with, has not been good. You had information that you could have shared. Look, Matt Gaetz got denied. It's possible. RFK wasn't even a Republican. It's possible that these senators could have not, confirmed him, and you didn't share anything about him. Why? Why? Did you still love him, or was it just?
I don't know how to responsibly handle this on camera with you here. You're
amazing.
I'm writing in that scene that you're talking about how I felt privately, about my private reaction, how I felt privately. Right.
But you
wrote a book.
You'd acted to help him. You admit
so
in the
private.
book you'd acted to help him over the course of the campaign. And so once you realized that he was screwing you over, you didn't take any counteraction. You just let him, right? Walk over you.
You're reading about it now.
That's okay. There's so much. There's so much. Before you get it, because I know you got wonderful stuff on this, Duncan, but there's a thing that journalists do when they write a book where they'll expose something that they use to sell the book that becomes sort of explosive, a little bit controversial, which is what increases excitement and therefore sales of that book. And they always say, I wrote about that. And stop. As if the writing of it, the whole point of the fucking interview is to give you a little tease, a little something, give us some humanity about what's going on and what your thought processes are, and give us a reason to buy this book. And she's like, I wrote about it. I'm not prepared to talk about that on camera. It's an amazing thing. But this is a journo. I think this is a generational journo issue.
Yep.
And I'd be interested in John's.
you're right.
I'd be interested in Ashbrook's point of view on this. In that, look, we've all heard the arguments time and time again about generations being addicted to their phone, and it's all social media, and you have keyboard warriors, and they don't know how to interact with one another. They don't have interpersonal relationships or whatnot. But when you see this in a journalistic context, and they're writing just salacious shit that is designed to stir up a hornet's nest for this man's life, who is now the HHS secretary, who's married, who also is writing a book, by the way. And then she's asked about it, and she's like, well, I wrote about it.
So this is the thing is,
I wrote about it.
She is just what a modern journalist is. This is all of them. They're all like this. They have zero ethics, zero talent.
That's so fucked.
The New York Times.
That's not true.
This is all true. All of them are like this. They're all horrible little monster people. So when she had that tweet that she was like, about that Netflix show, she was like, why do they depict journalists as sleeping with sources? Gee, I wonder why, sweetie. Why don't you take a look in the mirror? Why don't all you journalists take a look in the mirror? Because here's the thing is they all love this story. No one's been more excited about this than all the journalists. On Thanksgiving, they don't have families. Their families don't want to see these journalists. So they were all just tweeting about it and talking to each other about it, and they were so excited about it. This write-up the New York Times did, where they're like breathlessly trying to tear it apart, it's because they hate her because their newsrooms are full of people like her. They see people like her every day next to them in the cubicle to their left and the cubicle to the right. It's all people who are unaccomplished, don't deserve any kind of a platform, but these are the people who write our newspapers. These are our journalists. You saw her, she's like, well, I need to turn the camera off. It's like they have no skills, no talent, no ability to do anything. We trust these people as being the guardians of the press. It's a shame, and they should all feel ashamed.
She doesn't take any responsibility in that with Tim, and Tim's asking, like, why didn't you blow the whistle? Why didn't you say something? And the reason why is because journalists like this write themselves into their work.
Bingo.
Yeah.
And they think that is their responsibility. Like that is their involvement in the story. They make
It's all a
themselves
screenplay.
part of the story. And so she has no responsibility outside of the written word that she put on the page. She doesn't have any distance from what she wrote. She's now a part of that story.
Yeah.
It goes back to the earlier part of the Liza Substack, where he talked about how she wrote a fake article about
herself.
About Mark Sanford and Olivia Nuzzi have been rumored to be in a relationship.
So weird.
And it tells you about the sort of mental space that these people occupy, and that they are the story.
That's such a good point.
Duncan's right.
No, it is a good point. But it's also like, look, for people we grew up with, in the places that we grew up, the answer to that question is pretty simple. I imagine that when you have a job that you love, that you're pretty well known for because you've done a lot of big things, that you get fired for making a big mistake. And subsequently, you lose your job, you lose your fiancé, and your life goes into shambles where you can't even make public appearances anymore. After somebody who's on cable TV more than Wolf Blitzer, all of a sudden she's got to go dark for a year. I imagine the answer is you got to understand my life was completely ruined. The idea that I'm going to show up in a public setting and relive all of that on a day-to-day basis is a pretty sympathetic argument. One of which, that if she had any semblance of relating to another human being, everybody would be like, I get it. I wouldn't do it either. You wouldn't see my face. I get it. But they don't have that.
Nope, they have no shame.
They don't have that.
Well, so we've talked a lot about Olivia Nuzzi talking. We have not talked a lot about Olivia Nuzzi's writing.
Oh,
and now
this is your hobby horse.
We are finally getting to, this is the New York Times review of American Canto.
I have not seen this.
The headline is Olivia Nuzzi's memoir is self-serious and altogether disappointing.
Oh, man.
And my favorite excerpt here from the review. Amid the noise around Nuzzi, of which we've discussed here,
yes,
American Canto itself drops with a soft, disappointing thud. To paraphrase Britney Spears, a pop culture touchstone for the author and fellow blonde millennial, it's not a tell-all, not yet a memoir, chapterless and scattershot. I mean, that's being generous, I would say. It's an attempted letter from Trump's America in the style of a would-be Joan Didion on Adderall rather than Olavel. I don't know what Olavel is. I assume some sort of pharmaceutical.
Okay.
Or maybe Simone de Beauvoir, who wrote in America Day by Day that there's something in the New York air that makes sleep useless. Nuzzi, naturally, also suffers from insomnia. This is my favorite part. On page 15 of this 303-page bafflement, we get to the astrology.
No.
Dude, you knew.
You knew it was
she was
coming.
into astrology.
You knew.
A Gemini nation under a Gemini ruler.
Oh, boy.
At the book's midpoint, we learn that the author and Kennedy were born under the same kind of January Capricorn gobbledygook. Quote, do you think this means we're compatible?
Oh, jeez.
Oh, now that's
You
good
knew
writing.
she was into astrology, dude.
That's
You
good
knew
writing.
she was into astrology.
Man.
That is very good writing.
It's just also predictable. But one of the things that we highlighted out of this was a graphic that was displayed on social media that was, I think, an excerpt.
Yeah, it was a screenshot of the page on the book.
Yeah,
from the book.
Where she's evidently this thing is about politics. They haven't built it. By the way, if you were to just follow this like it was your job to know what was in American Conto, you'd think it's about Mark Sanford and RFK. It's not.
No.
It's like this her life in politics as she sees it.
It's just like an over dramatic reading of, quote, Trump's America at this moment, when really it's just kind of about this digital affair, and she makes it into a bigger thing than it is. Anyway, let's put up that graphic because it's honestly hilarious.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, you may find this hard to actually read on the screen, so I will do that for you in a dramatic fashion.
Please do.
Okay, so just by way of background, she's calling up WWE headquarters.
This is the World Wrestling Entertainment.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
There was always something new to consider, or something to consider in a new way. Bullshit sentence. What the hell are you doing?
I mean, this is what?
In that spirit, I called WWE headquarters.
So ridiculous, dude.
Sorry, not possible, the receptionist said.
This is to visit the WWE Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Not possible, I asked. Visiting would be impossible, she said. My eyes narrowed. I looked out the window of my newsroom in the Frank Gehry building on the Hudson River that looked like a big block of glacier ice. I did not like to be trapped any place, even somewhere I considered architecturally defensible. And I wanted to escape today. Had been counting on this opportunity to escape. The news of the possibility of a visit to the Hall of Fame depressed me. It's private? I asked. There's no place to visit, the receptionist said. No place? I asked. Right, she said. It moved? I asked. No, it's, an idea, she said. An idea? The hall of, she cut in, no hall, there's no hall. Then, what is it? It's an idea, she said. An idea? She had mentioned that already. It doesn't exist? I asked. Well, it exists, she said. Where? As an idea.
It's like Larry David.
Dude, it's unbelievable. It's like a 10-minute interaction of which she can't conceptualize the idea of this woman telling her there's no building that she can visit.
Yeah,
She spent a whole page telling everyone she's dumb as hell. And there's 300 more of them.
I just can't. There's 300 more of them. It's truly remarkable. We can't get enough of this story. I mean, listen, we've now made you invested in Olivia Nuzzi and everything that is American Conto, and we're going to continue. I don't think we're going to read all 300 pages of this, but it's nonsense.
I mean, I think I've said it before, and I'll say it again. It feels like rubbernecking a car crash. I just can't help myself.
I can't help it. You just have to hear it.
Yeah.
You really do. Anyway, we got a very big guest. He's the House Majority Leader, Steve Scalise. Want to welcome to the program a good friend of ours. Been on a few times. I think the first time in studio, though. He's the House Majority Leader, Steve Scalise. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Well, thank you for having me in your fancy gig over here. Yeah, nice digs.
I know. I think we've only done this over Zoom and stuff.
Yeah, and y'all came to the Capitol a few years ago.
That's
it was
right.
great to have y'all at our office, but nice to meet yours.
Listen, you got a lot going on.
A few things, yeah.
And you notice that like the temperament of everybody at the end of the year gets a little shaky.
I think, look, breaks are really good. Christmas break is necessary. Schumer would always want these end-of-year Christmas Eve omnibuses, and we're like, stop this foolishness. He might not like his family. I want to be home with my family during Christmas, and we don't need to be around each other during Christmas. There'll be food fights.
Yes.
And so, we've got some really, really big things to do before the end of the year, but then everybody go home for Christmas, love your family, and then we'll come back at it right after. But we're going to do some big things in the next few weeks. We've been doing some really big things.
Been doing some
with the
big
narrowest
things.
majority that we've maybe ever had. So it means every day is going to be a journey and an exciting day. It's like no day is boring.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about a few things here. One, sort of what you're up to here for the next month. And then prospectively, over the campaign season, what it is that you guys are talking about. Healthcare clearly is a piece of that. But right now, you guys are dealing with this NIL situation in the House. And I know we sat down back in spring, I guess early spring, maybe late winter, with the heads of the 4 major conferences and an awful lot of others who were talking about the importance of all of that. I know you guys are trying to do something about it. How do we feel?
Yeah,
about
this
it?
is one of many big issues that we've been dealing with. There are 3 committees of jurisdiction that have, frankly, been working on this for a few years. And this goes back years where, over a long time, lawsuits have eroded the ability for the schools to govern themselves. And that's really the heart of the issue, is like you had the NCAA, whether you like them or not, having an entity that governs college athletics has always been the case, but they've lost that ability. It's been eroded through mostly lawsuits that they've lost to where today it's the wild, wild west.
Yeah.
And this isn't about whether or not athletes get paid. That genie's out of the bottle. Putting structure in NIL, I think, is something everybody wants. Student athletes have no protections. We put those in place in this bill. Guardrails for even the agents. There's a lot of unscrupulous people out there approaching kids in high school, juniors in high school, getting signed up to deals they don't even know, take away their rights for 10 years. We limit those things and give the student athletes real rights, better protections that they don't have. We protect, for example, women's sports, Olympic sports. The U.S. Olympic Committee just came out in support of this bill because a lot of our Olympians who win gold medals, do great things, come through the college ranks, and we will preserve that here too. But it's really allowing, again, not Congress governing student athletics, it's Congress giving the schools the ability to govern themselves again, so they can have rules of the road. Everybody wants it. All the major conferences support it. The HBCUs came out in support of it. And it's, you're a big school, medium school, you want to be in a different conference. That's a fight for another day.
Somebody else's problem.
Somewhere else.
Yeah.
This is just allowing the schools to govern themselves again. Look, millions of people go and enjoy college athletics. 100,000 people will go into different stadiums every weekend and enjoy the games. They just want sports. You want a referee that's honest. You want the governing authorities to be able to be effective at having rules that can be enforced. Kids that can transfer every year and play till they're 28 years old. Is that really what we want? It used to be the case where you had limits on that.
Yeah.
Lawsuits evaporated all of that. You put structure back in place. That's what the bill does.
No, I think it's really smart. I mean, we've talked to a lot of folks who have discussed about all kinds of a hodgepodge of different state rules that sort of try to advantage their own. Obviously, everybody's got a rooting interest in their own home state school, as you do.
Sure.
No question about it. But this provides sort of a rules of the road.
Yeah, fair set of rules for everybody. Still, schools are going to still go out there and try to get the best players, and schools are figuring out how they can put NIL money on the table. That's all still in play. It's just, can you have enforceable rules?
Yeah.
And that's what this does. And again, that's why all the schools, all 12 schools that'll be competing against themselves for a national title, support this bill. So it's not like this gives my school an advantage over that school. It's about just allowing everybody to play under the same set of rules.
So what's the impediment to getting this done? Because I know that the Democrats were whipping against this
Which is
legislation,
shocking.
the SCORE Act. And I'm curious, do you think you can get to daylight on this thing? And what are their objections, and how can we rectify that sort of thing?
Yeah, we're getting close to getting there. Some people want the student athletes to be employees of the school.
Crazy.
I tell you, a lot of student athletes don't want that. They're like, hey, look, I'm a student, and I'm going to go out in the real world and do some other things later on. And if I get my own NIL deal, the school isn't getting that from me, and they shouldn't be able to stop me. So, we specifically say in the bill they can't be employees of the school by virtue of being a student athlete.
Is that all about just trying to unionize? the situation?
I think it is. I think they just want to unionize them. But regardless, we still have some Democrats that support it, but the Democrat leadership has been whipping against it. But at the end of the day, we're building the coalition. We're really close to getting there, and we're going to move the bill and eventually pass it.
I'm glad to hear that. That's, listen, forward progress.
Well, we're on the topic of sports. I got to ask you, because I know you're an LSU guy. Lane Kiffin hire.
Yeah.
How you
let's
feeling?
do that.
I'm excited about it. You know, obviously my friends in Mississippi, I don't know if they're still my friends. I think they are. Look, we went through a lot of gyrations on this thing. You know, it was excruciating to fire. Nobody wants to have to fire a coach, especially when you have to pay $54 million for that coach to leave. But once it happened, it's like, okay, we need to get, a coach that gives us a chance to win a national title again. I mean,
these are what you
I've
do in Baton
seen,
Rouge.
we had 3 of the last 4 coaches now won a national title, and Lane coming in is going to be able to have that opportunity, and I think he really wants that. Look, you can tell it was a hard decision for him. He had to leave a team that is going to be in the Final 12, and he did it because he knows the infrastructure's there at LSU, again, to win a national title. 3 of the last 4 guys did it that had that job. 2 of the last few Heisman trophies came out of LSU with Joe Burrow.
Oh, no, we're going to get him started
Here
on
we
the
go.
So you've got a lot of really good infrastructure
The
there.
Bengals
Burrow's a great quarterback.
Just a little side tidbit, by the way. Not only did I graduate from LSU with a degree in computer science, I lived in Tiger Stadium. It used to be a dormitory.
Did you
Today
really?
it's offices.
Really?
It used to be a dormitory. And so the north side of Tiger Stadium, I lived there my second year at LSU, and right across the street was Mike the Tiger's cage. So at like 7 in the morning, you get woken up with this loud growl of a tiger, a real tiger. Mike the Tiger was my wake-up call every morning. Talk about a pretty cool story. It wasn't cool at the time. I didn't like waking up at 7 a.m. as a college student.
Did you ever take down a couple of six-packs and then just
Mike
throw
and
steaks in there?
Maybe one day, I saw the movie The Hangover. Who didn't? I never woke up with a tiger in my room, but I had a tiger right outside my window every morning.
You know what I love about
And
Louisiana?
luckily, Mike Tyson wasn't in my room going, "Why did you steal my tiger?"
That's it. It's an important thing to try to avoid.
Yeah.
What I love about these guys is it seems like the representation of Louisiana. They all know ball.
Yeah.
2, they're kind of involved in it.
Governor Landry
That's
was
what I'm
extremely
saying.
involved. Yeah.
Jeff and I served together in Congress. I translated for him, well, we got these guys over there. This guy's hitting that guy. We go shoot the alligator, And people are like, what the hell did he just say? I don't know what he said, but I want to go with him and do it. And I'm like, we're going to go alligator hunting and eat some good jambalaya. And they're like, I'm in. Look, he's governor now doing a great job. I mean, we brought billions of dollars of investment into Louisiana, but he's a guy that wakes up every day like Trump. He just does stuff every day. He never sleeps. He's nonstop. We got a lot of really good things, exciting things happening in Louisiana. I'm glad that got resolved. But, you look, we're passionate people. We're passionate about our athletics. We're passionate about a lot of things. Passionate about food, passionate about, music. But we love what's great about our culture in Louisiana. But I think most people do. You look again, we might have Tulane University, which is in my district, in the Final 12. But, you look at the schools that are in the top 5, those states love their college athletics too. And, we're working on we're walking and chewing gum. We're working on healthcare. We're working on affordability. We're working on housing costs and, energy costs. We passed a lot of bills to lower energy costs, and you're seeing those prices already start coming down. Love to see them come down more. We're producing more energy in America. We're exporting it to our allies. So Russia and other bad nations like Iran don't do that. So, we're working on a lot of things right now. It's going to be a busy month. The rest of this year, where it's almost over, but we have a lot still that we want to do.
Yeah, well, you mentioned Trump, and it's a Thursday in Washington, D.C., and so the New York Times decided to write another article trying to take him down a peg.
Unreal, these guys. Yeah, they hate him so much, and they hate his success. That's, I think, what they're jealous of, that he's been so successful. When Joe Biden, the auto pen, Joe Biden didn't even know what he was doing because there was an auto pen doing so much of it. But I mean, this guy doesn't sleep. He'll call me at 7 in the morning on a Sunday. You hear from him at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, I bet you love that.
President Trump has been the funnest guy to work with. But I'll tell you, he's engaged, because he might want to talk to you about something, but you might bring 2 or 3 things up to him, and he's familiar with those things too. So he understands what's going on in all of the different areas of. You saw the cabinet meeting yesterday. How many times has he had cabinet meetings in public view? I don't think Biden had one. He has them like once a month, and they go on for 2 hours.
Or
and
5.
Trump is engaged. He knows what each cabinet secretary is doing, and it's like that on legislation. I mean, when we're moving the one big beautiful bill, the working families tax cut, it was a tough bill to pass because, again, 1 vote majority most of the time we were moving that bill through. And I mean, anybody has a bad day, they're like, okay, I'm voting no, the bill might go down. Well, we weren't going to let it. Failure was never going to be an option. But Trump was like, Steve, give me names. I will. And he would call them. He would call 5 people, an hour before the vote that were on the fence. And all 5 of them, I can tell you this, voted yes.
It's a hell of a tool to have in your
He is our best salesman. He's our best closer because he cares about getting this country back on track, and he knows the details too. He can get in the weeds with you if you want, but he also loves the country, and you see that passion every day. And it's sad that people hate him for that. The fact that he's getting done what he said. He ran on very specific things. I mean, I'm going to secure the border, no tax on tips. It's all done.
Right.
Yeah.
All done.
Right.
In like his first 3 months. And so if somebody hates him for that, would they hate America? I mean, this guy's delivering for America on the things that he was elected by 77 million people to do.
It's well said. I think as you look forward, obviously, there are components about the challenges of a midterm that are coming up. I mean, the historical challenges of having a unified government where you're in charge of it, it typically doesn't go well, right? I think you guys have surfed into that wave here in the recent history and been able to overperform expectations in the House. But as you look out at 2026, how do you feel?
Yeah, it's always going to be a tough year, when you look at history. You mentioned it. I mean, history is never good for the party in power in that first midterm. This Congress is anything but traditional. We have defied gravity on so many levels, and obviously we expect to and want to and are working to it. You don't just hope for good things to happen. You work your tail off. We're working to deliver for the American people. I mean, obviously we've done some big things already. There's more we want to do. And everybody's, I know the buzzword today is affordability, but it's really, do you have more money in your pocket today? Do you feel better about how things are going in the country today than a year ago and 3-4 years ago when Joe Biden was there? And that's ultimately the question next year. I sure know what I feel because I see what we're doing, and I've already seen how it's making an impact. We've seen tens of billions of dollars per state come in new investment per state. You're talking about hundreds of billions, if not over $1 trillion, in new manufacturing plants being announced in America since Donald Trump took office. And this Congress came in and set better rules of the game. We set better tax policy, by the way, not giving new tax breaks to millionaires and billionaires, saying nobody's taxes will go up. Only 3 people got a tax cut. You'll never hear that from the mainstream media, the old millionaires and billionaires. No tax on tips. Average pay, by the way, $32,000 a year. Elon Musk is not working for tips, but the single mom maybe working 2 shifts at the diner, that's going to be $1,500 more in her pocket by the end of this year. It's retroactive to January, but a lot of people won't really see it till they file their returns in April of next year. They're going to get a lot of money back, by the way. No tax on overtime. Who's that? Again, not millionaires and billionaires. Even if a millionaire's working for overtime, he's not eligible. But the guy making $70,000, $80,000, $60,000 a year, he's not going to pay tax. He'll pay taxes on his regular income. But if he's away from his family, working an extra 12 hours, 15 hours to help his company, he's going to be able to get all of that money in his pocket, buy extra Christmas gifts in a few weeks for his kids. That's real money for those people. And the third new tax break we gave was for senior citizens. Again, capped at an income level, but 85% of seniors will, in essence, pay no tax on their Social Security. That was a Bill Clinton tax put in place that President Trump said, I want to get rid of. And we put a new tax credit in place for seniors. They're going to see that when they file their returns. So those are real benefits for real people, not to mention no tax increases on anybody. Every Democrat, by the way, voted to raise your taxes 30%.
For sure.
There's a real contrast going in next year. What kind of America do we want versus Democrats? The Mondami wing of the party. They want socialism. They want higher taxes. They want more regulations, which means, by the way, you are paying more money at the grocery store for everything you buy because of all the crazy regulations. We're bringing a permitting reform bill. By the way, we've worked really hard to make it bipartisan, but you're going to see in the next few weeks a bipartisan permitting reform bill.
Important to your
that
state.
will not only allow us
and
to build
everywhere.
more things in America, but it'll allow us to lower costs. Why does it cost so much money for things? If you want to build a road, a bridge, a pipeline from Pennsylvania, where they can actually frack and produce oil and natural gas, into New York, where they don't allow it, so you have to bring it in on a tanker from a foreign country. How nuts is that policy?
Crazy.
But imagine if you could have permitting reform, and then all of a sudden you can not only build things, but build them in 2 years instead of 10 years because people aren't abusing the Endangered Species Act. And there's some mouse nobody's ever heard of. And people are like, I don't even find the thing. Like, they don't even exist anymore, but they're using it and filing lawsuits. I mean, we
If it's all the same, we'd prefer to have an economy.
It'd just be, how about we actually allow people to build stuff and care about the endangered American worker and bring them back? I think more people would rather bring them back. And so we're working on bills to do all of those things. That lowers costs. It brings more jobs to America, but it also lowers costs. It allows us to build things quicker, too, by the way.
I know you guys are also working on a lot as it comes to healthcare.
Yeah.
And I wonder if you could just tell people a little bit about what to expect. There's so much speculation out there. There's been so much written in the media, and it's hard to know what to believe. What did House Republicans?
Yeah, there's some
push
real exciting things coming. But for anybody that really went through the scars of Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, they named it, by the
staring
way.
at a couple of them.
Anybody want to make the argument that it's affordable? That's one of the big lies. It's like the Inflation Reduction Act. The Democrats love naming things the opposite of what they are. Inflation Reduction Act jacked up inflation. Democrats did the Affordable Care Act. What happened? 80% premium increases on families since that bill became law. No Republican voted for it because we knew, number one, it would jack up costs for families, higher health care costs. It also destroyed the doctor-patient relationship. We have more doctors in Congress now because a lot of them had to leave the practice of medicine because it didn't work. What we want to do is not spend hundreds of billions of dollars to insurance companies, by the way, which is the Democrats' plan. So they want to prop up insurance companies, mask the high cost of the Unaffordable Care Act. And oh, by the way, you still will pay higher premiums. We want to lower premiums and give families options. So we're bringing a number of bills to the floor in the next few weeks.
Wow.
Not next year. I'm talking about
really? In December?
the next few weeks. This may be breaking news. And so I've been meeting out this morning. I was meeting with the Doctors Caucus. I met with every different group, along with the three chairmen of the committees of jurisdiction. Energy and Commerce have been working on a lot of really big things. Ways and Means Committee, the Education and Workforce Committee have all been working on different pieces to do things like association health plans. We've been hearing from small businesses for years. Why can't we just pull together and get the buying power of a big Fortune 500 company? Well, there's laws that prevent it. We knock that down. We allow you want to go to Sam's or Costco. You're an individual. You're not even an owner of a small business. You can buy into a good plan that you want or let the Geico lizard go sell you, in health insurance, because now there will be competition. There's no competition in health insurance. Really no transparency either. Imagine bringing those elements in. Even look at the Obamacare tax credits that everybody talks about. Not the ones that are expiring. How about the ones that still exist? You're trapped only looking at an Affordable Care Act plan that you cannot afford. How about if you made that flexible and said, hey, we're going to roll that into a health savings account, and then you can go shop it around and buy a better plan. You want to stay in Obamacare? That's your choice. I think a lot of people would love to get out of it, but they're trapped right now. Imagine if you said that money, taxpayer money, can now be flexible to go anywhere, and everybody's going to compete for your business and want you to move to a lower cost plan for you and your family, maybe a lower deductible. How about we allow those kind of things to happen? We've got bills to do that. Other things on lowering prescription drug costs. We're going to be bringing bills to the floor in the next few weeks to do exactly that. Wow. So we've been putting that together for a few weeks. Again, doing a lot of things, walking and chewing gum. A lot of committees are working on all of these issues. You're going to see these votes. I'll love to see where Democrats are going to be on those votes, by the way.
Yeah.
Lowering healthcare costs and
guess.
giving families options. Is that what they're going to vote for? Are they going to just vote to bail out the big insurance companies and continue to trap you in a plan you don't like?
Yeah, the existence of Donald Trump, I think I know exactly where they're going to, anything he'll sign. they're going to oppose. I remember when Johnny and I were working to oppose Obamacare, and we called around various states and hospitals. And we're like, let's just do a test. We'll call around and just ask what an X-ray costs.
Oh, my gosh.
Right? So we picked up the
You should have
phone.
videoed that.
Oh, I mean, it was unbelievable. In this day and age, we could have. Back then, it was like, we were fairly primitive. But we called and asked, 4 or 5 different hospitals, different states all over the country. Everybody said, well, what plan are you on? And you're like, does it matter? Like, what's the price? What's the price of the X-ray? And then we couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, the
Shouldn't
point
you
that you're
be
getting
able to get a
at.
cash price,
Yeah.
let alone if you have insurance, it's this, or if you have Medicare, it's that, or cash. Why not have price transparency? You get it for everything else. I mean, people will literally drive across 5 lanes of traffic to get 2 cents less in gasoline because you see it right there on the board.
Right.
Imagine if you could shop like that for healthcare. And there's so many things in healthcare that are really, really not designed to help the consumer. And so imagine opening some of that up. And obviously, we're going to have some big fights over this because the Democrats, when they created Obamacare, you could see it. They wanted to have a single-payer government-run system.
Yeah.
They didn't care about how it worked. I mean, go to Europe where they do this. You're waiting 5 years for a basic procedure. People die waiting for procedures.
Yep. And they all show up at the
Democrats
Mayo
don't care
Clinic
about
or
that.
wherever else trying to do.
We had a provision in the Work and Families Tax Cut that was scored by CBO to lower premiums in health insurance by 12.7%. Lower premiums. Democrats fought to get that removed from the bill. They don't care about lower premiums. By the way, we're bringing that back too. It's called cost share reductions. Coming back, 12.7% lower premiums. Democrats want to vote against it. That's their business.
Excellent
Let them
that
go
you're working on that.
explain why they don't care about families having lower costs. I don't hear people going, hey, I just want a higher subsidy for my unaffordable care plan. What they say is I want better options and I want a lower cost. And how about we give that to them? So we're going to be bringing those bills to the floor.
Let me ask you just two quick things here before we go as it relates to the midterms. One, the redistricting discussion. Obviously, it started with Texas. We got California. Now you hear about Virginia. We've got the situation that it was in Indiana. As you're looking out here on the map, we're all optimistic that this thing will sort itself out in one form or another. Did we make a sort of a strategic error here in getting into this mid-decade district redistricting discussion? I mean, are we going to come up with the short end of the stick, or is this just what Democrats do no matter what?
Decades, states have done mid-decade redistricting for a long time.
Yeah.
Democrat states have done it. Republican states have done it. This time it'll probably be a wash. Maybe Republicans might net 1 or 2 more seats.
Okay.
Net.
Yeah.
When you factor in California and other states. Regardless,
You're not
we're
concerned.
focused on for the midterms is you look at the 13 seats Donald Trump won that are held by Democrats. And these are Democrats that won by maybe a point or 2.
Yeah.
Trump might have won by 5. Those are districts trending our way. We've already got one we're favored right now, Maine.
Yeah.
Where Jared Golden
Jared
announced
Golden.
he's retiring
Yeah, right.
because we got Governor LePage, former Republican
Amazing how they
governor,
find
Maine,
another line of
to
work,
announce he's
right?
running, and then Golden's like, okay, I'm retiring. We're going to flip that seat. There are seats like that we're going to flip regardless of redistricting. And a lot of it is because the Democrat Party has left so many people. They don't stand for working people anymore.
Yeah.
They want socialism. They want Marxism. There's a niche of 20% maybe, the Mondami wing of the party. The rest of America doesn't want that. And that's all the Democrats have right now. They're going to talk about fake issues. They'll talk about, that they'll act like they care about cost of living for people when they jacked it up.
Well, this is what I wanted to get into
if
on
you
the
like
messages.
what you have, you can keep it.
Yeah.
Who told that's the biggest lie in all of politics,
Yep.
which is a big thing to say. That was the Democrats' lie on Obamacare. They said, everybody's going to get a $2,500 reduction in their health insurance.
Yeah, it didn't
80% increases later, they're still lying about health care. So they're going to make up lies about all of this stuff. At the end of the day, we got to keep delivering on what we've been working on. Lower energy costs already. Let's lower insurance costs in healthcare. Let's lower more costs even more at the grocery store. We're working on all of those things. President Trump already brought down the price of eggs dramatically. They don't talk about that anymore. Why? Because he fixed it. But, we're not going to get complacent. We have a lot more work we want to do because we want people to be really fired up. Not just saying they're horrible, saying, look at the good things we've done, but let's keep that progress going. We can do more good things. Democrats, if they get the majority, you look at who's going to be chairman of their committees, for goodness sake, let alone they're going to be focused on impeachment, hatred of Donald Trump, vendettas.
We already know.
It's what they did last time.
That's what
They'll
they did.
do it again.
Yeah.
They don't care about workers.
I want to compliment you because I think, look, it's easy when you're in a party of incumbent power and you've gotten the amount of success done that you have in a relatively short amount of time. There is a sort of tendency to try to defend everything that you've done and not have a prospective outlook on it. And I think that's the trap of being in power, is that you are talking about how all these great things that you've done, but nobody in a midterm election is satisfied with status quo. They want to know where you're going. Everything you just talked about was forward-looking, and it was what you're going to do next. Listen, if everybody in the conference had that point of view, I have no doubt House Republicans are going to retain a majority.
Well, I feel really bullish on not only us maintaining it, we can grow it. Not going to be a 30-seat majority, just with redistricting those days. Or we could get up to an 8-seat majority.
Yeah.
When you're at a 2-seat majority, an 8-seat is like bonanza. We
What
call
a
it
wealth of
lanyap in Louisiana. It's like Mardi Gras every day. But we're going to do it with bold ideas. Let's keep exciting people. When you say, hey, gee whiz, right now you're trapped in Obamacare. Imagine if you could take that money and go buy a plan better somewhere else. We did in the Working Families tax cut. There's so many parts of that great bill that people don't even know about. We're modernizing the air traffic control system. Every Democrat voted no. We did a federal school choice program that's funded by individuals, not federal money, but we create a tax credit system where you can pay in for low-income people, not for millionaires and billionaires, but low-income people who are trapped in failing schools can now have some options, but states have to choose to opt in or out. What's Gavin Newsom going to do? What's Hochul in New York going to do? Is she going to keep her kids that are trapped in failing schools, is she going to keep them trapped there? Of course she is. Let them have choices? And it's really not them. It's the parents. Those low-income parents are going to finally start looking around going, whoa, wait a minute. I voted for that Democrat 18 times. They're now stopping my kid from getting a better education. Now it's personal. And so that choice is coming next year. So it's not something you see today because it takes effect next year. Let's wait till those governors have that choice to make. I know where my governor, Jeff Landry, I can speak for. We're going to let those parents have that choice.
And 2 crawfish dinners.
Yes, and 2 crawfish dinners. And it'll be better than anything you're going to get when Gavin Newsom will probably tell 3 different versions of a lie on that because he won't answer the question. And by not answering the question, he's answering the question. So let everybody have that choice, but we put those things in place. And when we go to voters and say, we're going to keep fighting for you with these kind of ideas, not, hey, we secured the border. People are like, all right, I'm very excited. You secured the border. I'm on to the next thing already. So, we can't be fighting yesterday's victory. Put a trophy up on the wall, but you better be talking about the other things that we want to do, because all they're going to do is just say they hate Donald Trump. They want to burn down cities and defund the police. They still stand for that. They'll try to mask that next year, like they did in that Tennessee special election. But
that is what it is.
Listen, let's keep going and winning. We got to keep delivering, and we're going to. We're not getting complacent.
I love it.
We're hungry.
I love it. Listen, very well done. You guys are doing a great job. Got to get to the end of this year, get everybody's mind right, get back into next year.
Go home
keep
to your
on
families,
digging.
enjoy some presents. You'll have some extra presents now with better tax policy, and and then let's get into next year and go do some more good things.
You're the man, Steve Scalise.
Great.
I mean, big week for news on the Variety program. We had news from the Senate Majority Leader, and now we have news from the House Majority Leader.
Yeah.
I mean, get out of here. That healthcare stuff was really interesting, and it's all happening before Christmas, it sounds like.
It's not all just yucks here on the Variety program. We bring you some hard news.
Yeah, and Scalise brings a lot of energy to the whole thing, and I think he's a fantastic messenger.
Yep, I agree.
Mean, if he's out there selling the midterm message, I feel pretty good.
It was all perspective. It was all important. It's all stuff that people need to hear. I just hope everybody gets on the same page, because you can't sell what you did. You got to sell what you're doing, which is where his head is at. He's a great friend of the program. Really appreciate him coming in. Remember our question of the day, which is, what drug was the designer of the new postal truck on when he designed that vehicle? and you just give us your thoughts on all of that. When you like and subscribe to the Ruthless Friday program, we read every one of your comments and get back the very next episode. With that, fellas, I believe we did it.
I think so. Absolute banger of an episode. Gentlemen, thanks so much, Steve Scalise, and thank you, dear listener. Remember, if you have not yet, go to the YouTube, hit that subscribe because it's more fun in video. So until next time, Minions, keep the faith, hold the line, and own the libs. We'll see you on Tuesday. Stay ruthless.